Hello, welcome to Old Nerd Unboxes more of his books. Um, a lot of my books, well, most of my books have been packed away in storage for 2 years, and packed them all up in these boxes. They're all pretty much the same. I wrote what's in them, and probably more than half of my books are sci-fi fantasy. I have a ton of sci-fi fantasy paperbacks, and that's what was kind of special about this box. I wasn't even going to film this, but as soon as I opened it and looked at what was inside before I pulled too many out, I was like, I should film this. This is a pretty cool one. So let me punch in. Yeah, usually, like I said, my collection of paperbacks is just the standard paperback size, sci-fi and fantasy. But every once in a while, when I find a good deal on a nice hardcover or an oversized like trade paperback version of a novel or some of these older ones, I'll pick them up, when it's at a Goodwill or a yard sale or someplace where they're not a lot. But this is a pretty old copy of the Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. Nice wraparound cover. I would guess this is from, the late 60s. Yeah, it's really stiff. I don't want to crack it open, but Naomi Novik. I found this someplace for cheap. I don't remember where, but the author's name was familiar to me, and I remembered it was because a friend of mine years ago recommended this novel to me by Naomi Novik, Her Majesty's Dragon. I guess this is a series. I haven't read them yet, but I did pick up the first one because it was a recommendation. I want to get around to reading it one of these fine days, so that's why I grabbed that one. This just looked cool, steampunk. Reading the back of the book, it sounds like it's like kind of a pulp fantasy adventure. The World of Tears, Philip Jose Farmer. I'm constantly finding new Philip Jose Farmer novels anytime I go looking in the used bookstores. Like, I wonder how many he's written, because it seems like every time I discover, not just the River World series or some of his more common ones that he's known for, like this one and this one. I don't know. I've never heard of him before. Apparently, this is kind of X-rated, and this one I've never even heard of before. And they're both, the trade paperback size that I really like. These are nice. And so we dig down. It's just an old sci-fi book. One of those, I don't know what these are, like Reader's Digest type book of the month club type editions is what these are. It's got a slip cover. Somebody wrote in it, W.P. Pond, October 1992. But these are the ones with just the slip covers. I think these are like book of the month club, these types of books. But I picked it up because it was in good shape and it was cheap and it looked cool. This is another one. It's just in a little worse condition. John Boyd. Don't really know much about this one. I must have just found it someplace, like I said, at a yard sale or something, and grabbed it. The Girl with a Jade Green... Oh, this is also by John Boyd. This is an ex-library copy. Some sort, I guess. Yeah. Savannah, Georgia. Chatham County Branch Libraries. So that's another John Boyd. The Tombs of Atwan. I think I got this at a library sale, but it's got the Newbery Award on it, which is cool. It's a slipcover artwork on the back, kind of like a stretched elongated edition, a 1972 Newbery Honor book. I don't think I'd ever heard of this book either, and I found this I'm pretty sure it was a library book sale a few summers back. All right, see how I've got them packed in here. I packed as many books into one of these boxes. These boxes are probably a good 30 to 50 pounds each. They're heavy. Brandon Sanderson. I haven't finished. What was is it the Mistborn series that I have, and Mistborn. See, I've got this like slipcover slipcase version of the first 3 here. I think there's more than this, but I've started this one and I put it down and haven't picked it up in a couple years. So I'd like to go back to it. It was pretty good. And I follow him on YouTube. He, like, when he gives lectures and whatnot, he lectures at a university out in Utah, I think, and he lectures on fantasy writing. And he does like a series every year where he does a class, and he puts it on YouTube, and it's really interesting to see his writing process. So I've been wanting to read Brandon Sanderson, just haven't done it yet. I don't know what this is. Thornton Wilder. This is a paperback. This must just be regular fiction. Mystical decadent circle of aristocrats and the young American who penetrated their secret. Cool. I don't know if it's an work of fiction, or if it's an account of true story. Robert Silverberg's Worlds of One. So I guess this is probably just like Robert Silverberg edited these stories by many writers, I guess. But this, I think I probably found cheap, and it was in really nice shape, so I grabbed that one. Let's see. Pull it out of there. I pack these in here tight. This is the first Battlestar Galactica book. And this is like, I think this is one of those book club editions. It's got the slipcover. Really nice condition. Scuffed back here on the back, which is too bad, but it's really nice shape. Really good copy. The Integral Trees by Larry Niven. Been wanting to read Larry Niven. And this is a nice book club edition. Slipcover. Ringworld. I think I found this at Goodwill. I don't know if this is Holt, Reinhard Winston. That sounds like textbooks, school textbooks. Donald Struck Bookseller. Trap Apple Limited Vintage Books. Jim Thorpe. Okay, yeah. My family took a trip to Jim Thorpe, PA several summers ago, and there's a couple used bookstores there, and I found a couple older sci-fi fantasy books there, and this must have been one of them. A.E. Van Vogt, Empire of the Atom. This is a really nice trade paperback. Really nice condition. Doesn't really look like it's been read, or if it was read, somebody read it real fast. There's more A.E. Van Vogt. This is an older, I don't even know. I don't recognize this. Reward Books. Is that what it says? Anybody read that? Yeah, Reward Books. Never heard of this. I don't know. Maybe this is an import. Maybe this was printed overseas. I'm not sure. But okay, there's a couple of A.E. Van Vogts. Stephen Lawhead, Paradise War. Song of Albion, Book 1. Yeah, this is a really nice trade paperback. I've heard of Stephen Lawhead. Don't really know anything about him, though. But this looks cool. Must have found that someplace at a sale. Let's see if the last of these ones good. Come In by William P. Robertson. So this is a local author, and we have the same first and last name. This is a local author. I'm kind of friends with him on Facebook. He's been writing stories for years, ghost stories, true accounts of Indians and ghost stories and whatnot, like history of Pennsylvania type stuff, cryptids of Pennsylvania, ghost stories of Pennsylvania. He has tons of these like self-published paperbacks, and he's always out and about at any kind of festival that he can set up a booth at in the area. And I got a few of his books, and you find them in the used places around locally too, because he is, like I say, he's a local. Clockwork Angel, Cassandra Clark. Is this like a young reader's book? I don't know really much about it, but it gives me steampunk vibes because of the word clockwork in the title, but there's also a Rush song called Clockwork Angel, isn't there? And yeah, it's a whole long series, and it looks like young reader stuff, but I'll give it a shot maybe. I'll put it on the shelf and let it sit there, and I'll think about it, and if I ever get inspired to read it, if I hear good things about this TV show, or get a chance to watch it maybe, if it's streaming somewhere, maybe I'll get the desire to read it. It looks cool. It's not high on my to-read list, though. All right, last row here. Let's start right here. Oh, the Chronicles of Prydain. See, this must have had a slipcover at one time, I would guess. Guild America books. But this must have... I remember very vividly. I bought this at a yard sale probably 25 years ago. A yard sale of the parents of a fellow I went to school with. Went to school with him all my life. And I don't know, it was several years after we graduated, but I went to his mom and dad's yard sale, and I found this book there. It must have been his or his older brother's. And it must have had a slip jacket at some time, but I love the Chronicles of Prydain ever since the Black Cauldron, the Disney movie in the early 80s that most people don't like, or it doesn't have a good reputation, or it's got a cult following depending on how you look at it. I always loved it. I loved that movie. I watched it when I was pretty young, down in Allentown, Pennsylvania. My aunt lived there at the time, and we went to visit her and stayed with her for a few days, and one of the days we went to the movies and watched the Black Cauldron. And yeah, I've always been a Chronicles of Prydain guy. I read the books. I read all of them like in a row, I don't know, probably 20 years ago now, and really enjoyed them. Magic Net, John DeChancy. Now, sorry about that, I dropped you down the box. I have some other DeChancy books, and I wonder if I have this in paperback. Let's see, here's John DeChancy. So this is called Magic Net. John DeChancy. I got the Crouton interface, and all the rest of them are, looks like the Castle books. Castle Perilous, Castle for Rent. Yeah, so I don't have this one. And this is a nice library edition, right? Hardcover, dust jacket with a clear overlay, protective overlay. First edition, $5 or $6. Hopefully I paid $5, and hopefully it was on sale and I got it for like $2.50. But very cool hardcover by an author that I'm interested in exploring. So I've been picking up his books whenever I see them. Lloyd Alexander, The Arcadians. No idea about this book. Didn't even know it existed. Found it someplace not too long ago. Withdrawn. Library, State College area schools. So I probably picked this up down around State College someplace they have a really good book sale there every year in the spring. I might have picked it up there. Big, huge book sale. Tons of vendors, or it's like the Book Depository book sale or something like that. They have it for a whole weekend. It's kind of like it reminds me of like a comic convention. All kinds of people there all kinds of library, old nerd types, cat ladies, all kinds of people that, you would see at the library or something like that, descend on this over like a 3-day, 4-day weekend, long weekend. And they just have tons of books in there that have been donated, I think. And it's all really good stuff. I've gotten great comics there. I've gotten lots of great books there. Probably a lot of these books came from there, and they're cheap. It's really cheap. But here is Tanith Lee, Red as Blood. Again, another book cover edition with a nice cover, nice slip cover. Dawn Books, fiction, fantasy, $2.95. I don't know. This might have come from BAM. I had a BAM not too far from where I live, and it recently closed down because it was in an old mall. And the mall finally closed, and BAM was like one of the only places left in there. Shadowmancer. I want to say I have a couple books by this author. Is there another one in here? Yeah, Wormwood. G.P. Taylor. So I don't know if this is a series, but so okay, down here, author of the New York Times bestseller Shadowmancer, which is this one. So this one probably came out before this one. But Wormwood, that's like Planet X. So that kind of stuff's interesting to me. I haven't read these yet, but I found them. I forget where I found these ones. $5. That may have been at the bookshop I just recently did a video about. Had their winter sale, third off everything in the store. These may have come from there. I don't think they both did, though. I want to say I got them in 2 different places. But 2 books by G.P. Taylor. I don't really know anything about him. Anybody out there know anything about G.P. Taylor? The Last Rainbow by Park Godwin. Don't know this one. A powerful saga of magic, faith, and love in Celtic Britain by the author of something. I can't make it out. It's got a really old price sticker on it. Must have been in like an old department store. Drugstore, possibly. It's warped. It was probably oh, here's why. Because right here's where this plastic flap ends. It's like a big drop off right there. So that's what happened to that. Dumbass. Oh well, it'll flatten out. Flaming Zeppelins: The Adventures of Ned the Seal by Joe R. Lansdale, a cult figure. People magazine. Yeah, you hear a lot about Joe Lansdale. What was it just recently that popped up? Bubba Hotep? Wasn't that based on the Joe Lansdale novel? That movie Bubba Hotep with the chin from Evil Dead with that Bruce Campbell. It was a good movie, Bubba Hotep. I got to watch that again. But if this is, I think that's the story. The movie Bubba Hotep was based on a novel by Joe Lansdale, I think. So this looks like this could be a fun one in the same vein. We'll see. Robert Heinlein, The Number of the Beast. Not to be confused with the Iron Maiden tune that really kicks butt. Robert A. Heinlein. This is a novel. Number of the Beast. I've heard of this. This is a really cool old, like, I don't know how old this is, but it's a Fawcett Columbine. So this is a pretty old trade paperback. Must have been an early one when they maybe just started doing these things. Let's see if we can. It's got a nice. The cover, the ship, the front of the ship, the top of the ship is all raised. That's really nice. It's not in great condition, unfortunately. Look at all those books by Heinlein. Dang, those guys. Back then they were cranking them out because they got paid by the word or something like that. Copyright 1980. Copyright 1980. Fawcett. First Fawcett Columbine printing August 1980. So this is the first printing, it looks like. Don't know where I got it, but like I said, probably at a book sale, a yard sale, Goodwill. I'm saying that a lot, aren't I? After just about every other book I pull out of here. I'm giving the same old tired list of where I'm finding these books at. Marion Zimmer Bradley. Never read any of her stuff. I think I've heard of this book. But I've never read any of her stuff. It's a pretty nice edition. First trade paperback edition, September 1996. First edition of the book came out in 95. Nice. Yeah, this is in really good shape, too. Table's been full for a while. Peter and Max, a Fables novel, Bill Willingham, with illustrations by Steve Leialoha. Must have found that someplace for $3. It was probably like half off too. But this is a novel based on the comic series by Bill Willingham and Steve Leialoha. I had a girlfriend years ago who collected these, so I got to read them because I didn't collect them. But I got to read them. I got to read her copies, and this is a good story. I enjoyed it. We both really enjoyed that comic. That was really well written. And Bill Willingham, he's also an interesting side note. He's also a really good artist. He started off actually in comics as an artist, and he did some really early Dungeons and Dragons comic strip type advertisements that were on like the back page of the comics in the early 80s, or interior ads, like take up a whole page, and he drew those. And that artwork's, he's a really good artist, I think. But he's a really good writer. So I wanted to give this a shot. It's just a novel, based on the comic series. Nice condition, slipcover. It's got the DC Vertigo logo on the bottom of it. Yep, Vertigo. So this was published by DC Comics, basically, I'm guessing. This looked interesting to me. The Explorers Guild. See, it's John Baird, Kevin Costner, and I believe, that's actually the actor. But it's a really nice cover. Really nice slip cover. Nice raised writing. Gold leaf. But it looks cool. See, it's printed on all this like old newsprint paper, and it's a mix of comics and prose. Yeah, I don't know what it's about. I've never really heard of it. I just kind of stumbled across it someplace. I don't remember where. I'm not gonna say it again. Not gonna do it. Oh, and then I these looked interesting to me, and I hear a lot of good things about them. This series, 3-Body Problem. I think that's Six and Liu. That's what I'm gonna say. Six and Liu. But here's these are the first two in the series. The Dark Forest is the follow-up. So I have those two. Let's see. Thunderer. See, this looks like another middle grade book. Novel of high fantasy. It might not be, though. Felix Gilman, Thunderer. I've never heard of it. Like, again, one I just stumbled across, and it looked interesting, and it's in excellent condition. Let's see if there's any. No, nothing in here. So yeah, I don't know where I ran into this, but it looks cool. Great cover art. Fantastic. And it's steampunky, which I like. Mainspring. This again looks kind of steampunk. You got your standard airship / Zeppelin. Just looks really cool. Mainspring. And that's kind of like an allusion to steampunk. The title is Mainspring, like mechanical mainspring in a piece of machinery or a clock. Yeah, this just looked neat. I don't know where nothing in there. October 2008. That's just the only writing I see. Yeah, I don't know, but it just looks cool. Hope to get around to reading that one of these fine days. Another steampunk. Kenneth Opel, Airborne. Again, your basic airship Zeppelin on the cover. Great cover art. This is like a library edition because it has the protective clear wrap around the dust jacket. Looks cool. And last but not least, Neil Stevenson, Quicksilver. I always saw this in paperback, and I never saw this big. Like, this must be the first edition of this book. It's huge. I'm guessing this is the first edition. Oh, let's see here. I got it for $2. It looks like, and probably less than that. 60. It's 16 pounds. So maybe this was a European version edition. Must be that's what it is. This is also on like newsprint. Yeah, this is really cool. But he's got all these great titles. Cryptonomicon, The Diamond Age, Snow Crash, Zodiac. Snow Crash, I think that's like a what is it called? not steampunk, but cyberpunk. I think that is considered an early big cyberpunk novel. But yeah, that's a really nice one. It's kind of dirty. Like needs cleaned. Right, there was a sticker there at one time. It's a little, the dust jacket's a little rough, but yeah. So let me pull back. So yeah, that's my moccasins. That's my box of. Let me move the light. Probably make shadows. Really interesting box of hardcover and oversized trade paperbacks. My sci-fi and fantasy collection. Good stuff. A lot of it stuff that just looks cool and I hope to read someday. But yeah, I'm working on. I got these IKEA shelves. They're called Ivar, and they're perfect for paperbacks. So you can put 2 rows outward facing on each shelf. So it's like going in the library. So I've been when I unpack the boxes, those boxes like the one we just went through, I put them up here and I'm trying to do them in alphabetical order by author. So right now I'm just figuring out how many shelves I need, how to space out the shelves themselves. If I'm gonna have to spill over onto this one, I'd like to use this one for movies, for DVDs and Blu-rays, but we'll see. Might end up being like these oversized ones over here, because that's all oversized stuff. Well, not all of it. Just the one box is. Up there is different stuff. But so I got that box of oversized stuff, this box of oversized stuff, plus a bunch of graphic novels, oversized hardcover editions of comics, stuff like that. So I gotta figure out how to fit it all in here on these shelves. Get what I can on these shelves anyway. So yeah, wanted to share that with you. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.